The rain hammered against the roof like 1,000 unspoken regrets, each drop echoing the ache in my chest as I stared at the empty driveway. Little Timmy's small hand clutched mine, his innocent eyes wide with the kind of fear only a 5-year-old knows, the fear that Daddy might not come back tonight. But it was me, Eric, 22 and adrift in this quiet suburb of Columbus, Ohio, who felt the real terror, not of the storm, but of the secret I'd buried so deep it clawed at my ribs every time I looked in the mirror. I'd only agreed to babysit for Mark because his usual sitter had flaked, and the $50 would cover my gas money back to the community college where I pretended to have a future. Mark lived next door in our cookie-cutter neighborhood, a single dad grinding through 12-hour shifts at the auto plant, his face etched with lines that spoke of love's quiet sacrifices. Timmy adored him, and in those early evenings, I'd watch the boy build Lego towers that always toppled, mirroring the fragile structures I called my life. But that night, as thunder rattled the windows and Timmy finally drifted off in my lap, the doorbell sliced through the darkness like a promise I wasn't ready to keep. I eased Timmy onto the couch, pulling the Afghan over his small frame, and padded to the door, heart pounding harder than the rain. There, silhouetted against the porch light, stood a stranger who looked like he'd stepped out of one of those late-night dreams I never admitted to having. Tall, broad-shouldered, with rain-slicked black hair and green eyes that pierced the gloom. He flashed a smile that was equal parts weary traveler and quiet storm. "Hey," he said, voice low and rough like gravel under tires. "I'm Alex, Mark's brother. He around?" In that instant, as water dripped from his jacket onto the welcome mat, something inside me cracked open a door I'd nailed shut years ago, letting in a rush of air that smelled like possibility and peril all at once. I stepped aside, mumbling something about Mark being late from overtime, and Alex shook off his coat, filling the entryway with the scent of wet earth and distant cities. He'd driven in from Chicago, he explained, wiping his boots on the mat, just for a quick visit before heading back to his graphic design gig that paid the bills but left his soul starving. Timmy stirred at the sound of his uncle's voice, rubbing sleep from his eyes and lighting up like Christmas morning. "Uncle Alex," he squealed, launching himself into arms that caught him effortlessly, spinning him in a circle that made the room feel alive for the first time that night. As Alex settled Timmy back down with a bedtime story, something about a brave fox outsmarting the wolves, I busied myself in the kitchen, brewing coffee to steady my shaking hands. Who was this man, crashing into our routine like a rogue wave? Mark had mentioned a brother once, in passing, the one who'd made it out of our Rust Belt town, but never with the warmth that laced Alex's laugh now, echoing through the house. When he finally wandered in, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with quiet strength, I handed him a mug and met his gaze for the first time without the porch light's mercy. "Thanks, man," he said, leaning against the counter, his eyes tracing my face like he was reading a map he'd lost long ago. "Eric, right. Mark says you're a lifesaver. College kid." "Yeah, something like that," I replied, forcing a chuckle that came out too tight. 22. Undeclared major. Working odd jobs to keep the lights on in my parents' basement. Me life was a series of half-truths, especially the one about why I avoided the frat parties and dodged questions about girlfriends. In high school, I'd buried my first crush on a teammate under layers of denial, telling myself it was just admiration, just confusion. But Alex's presence stirred it all up, his easy confidence a mirror to the man I might have been if I'd ever let myself breathe. We talked as the storm raged on about the Bears losing again, the way Columbus winters bit harder than Chicago winds, the ache of missing family holidays. He asked about my sketches, spotting the notebook I'd left open on the table, filled with half-formed drawings of cityscapes that hid the faces I dared not draw. You've got talent, he said, flipping through pages with care, his fingers brushing mine in a way that sent sparks up my arm. It was innocent, accidental, but in that charged silence, I felt seen, truly seen for the first time since I'd locked that part of myself away. By the time Mark's truck rumbled into the drive, the rain had softened to a drizzle, and Alex was promising Timmy a zoo trip on his next visit. Mark clapped his brother on the back, gratitude and exhaustion mingling in his tired grin. Stay the night, bro. Roads are shit. Alex agreed, and as he headed upstairs to the guest room, he shot me a look over his Shadera, quiet acknowledgement that lingered like the last note of a song you can't shake. I drove home that night with the wipers slapping rhythmically, replaying every word, every glance. Sleep evaded me, my mind a whirlwind of what-ifs. What if I wasn't just the neighbor kid anymore? What if this feeling, this pull toward Alex, was the thread I'd been unraveling my whole life? Little did I know, that knock on the door was the first stitch in mending a heart I'd broken long before it ever loved. The next morning dawned gray and sodden, the kind of Ohio autumn that clings to your bones. I was nursing a coffee on my porch, sketching absent-minded lithe curve of a jawline I couldn't quite capture when Alex emerged from Mark's duffel slung over his shoulder. He waved, crossing the lawn with that unhurried stride, and before I could retreat inside, he was leaning on my railing, steam rising from his own mug. Couldn't leave without saying bye, he said, his smile softer in the daylight, revealing faint laugh lines that spoke of joys hard won. We fell into easy talk again, about dreams deferred and the pull of home. He confessed how Chicago's hustle had sharpened him but left him hollow, missing the simplicity of backyard barbecues and brothers who knew your flaws by heart. I nodded, sharing bits of my own limbo, the pressure from my folks to figure it out, the sketches that were my only outlet for the chaos inside. You ever think about showing those? He asked, nodding at my notebook. His eyes held no judgment, just genuine curiosity. And for a moment, I let myself imagine a world where I could say yes, where I could be the artist, the man who loved without apology. As he drove off, taillights fading into the mist, a resolve settled in me. I'd see him again. Mark mentioned Alex might stick around for Thanksgiving. But more than that, his visit had unearthed something vital, a spark of courage flickering in the ruins of my self-doubt. Babysitting had been a job, but now it felt like a bridge, leading me toward truths I'd evaded for too long. Weeks blurred into a rhythm, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'd arrive at Mark's with pizza for Timmy and stories to chase away his bedtime monsters. Mark's gratitude grew into friendship. He'd linger after work, sharing beers on the stoop, venting about custody battles with an ex who saw their son as leverage. You're good with him, Eric, he'd say, clapping my shoulder. Steady. We need more of that around here. His words warmed me, a rare affirmation in a life of invisibility. But it was Timmy's trust that anchored meth way he'd crawl into my lap, trusting my voice to ward off shadows. Yet, beneath the routine, anticipation simmered. Alex texted Mark sporadically, updates from the city that trickled down to me like secrets. One crisp November evening, as leaves skittered across the lawn like fleeing thoughts, Mark announced it. Alex is coming for the holiday. Says he's bringing pie from that fancy bakery. You in, Eric? Timmy'd love it. My heart stuttered. Yeah, sure. I'd like that. But inside, a storm brewed fiercer than the one that first night. What was this? A crush. A lifeline. I'd spent years in the closet's dim confines, dating girls out of obligation, their kisses tasting like ash. My parents, devout churchgoers in this conservative pocket of the Midwest, had never spoken of such things. But their unspoken rules hung heavy. Be normal. Be straight. Be the son they prayed for. Coming out felt like exile. So I stayed silent, sketching my longings in code. Thanksgiving arrived wrapped in frost and family clamor. Mark's house swelled with aunts, uncles, and cousins, the air thick with turkey and laughter that masked old grudges. I helped in the kitchen, chopping celery with mechanical precision, until Alex walked in, arms laden with pies and a grin that lit the room. "Eric," he greeted, pulling me into a quick hug that smelled of leather and cinnamon, his hand lingering a beat too long on my back. "Glad you're here." The day unfolded in a haze of small miracles. Timmy's glee at the table, Mark's rare relaxation, Alex's stories from art shows and late-night inspirations. After dinner, as the adults dozed to football, Alex found me on the back porch, staring at the star-pricked sky. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked, settling beside me on the swing, our shoulders brushing in the chill. I hesitated, then let it spill the fear of paths not taken, the weight of unspoken dreams. He listened, really listened, his silence a balm. "Life's too short for half measures. Eric," he said finally, his voice threaded with his own ghosts. "I learned that the hard way. Lost a good friend last year, cancer. He never told his family who he loved. Don't wait for permission to live." His words hung between us, heavy with implication. Was he out? Had he walked this road? The swing creaked as he shifted, our knees touching now, a contact that hummed with electricity. "You're braver than you think," he added, his green eyes locking on mine. "I see it in your drawings, in the way you are with Timmy." Heat flooded my face, gratitude mingling with terror. For the first time, I glimpsed the man I could but not hidden, but held. As snow flurries danced down, we talked until the cold drove us in. But that conversation lingered, a seed planted in frozen ground. December brought holidays laced with longing. I threw myself into babysitting, using the hours with Timmy as therapy as unfiltered joy, a reminder that love didn't need labels to heal. Mark noticed my distraction, attributing it to finals. But one night, as we bundled Timmy for a sledding trip, he pulled me aside. "You okay, kid? Seem like you've got the world on your shoulders." I shrugged it off, but his concern cracked my facade. Mark was salt of the earth straight, married young, divorced bitter, but his heart was wide, just figuring stuff out. I muttered. He nodded. "No prying. Just affirm whatever it is. You've got people here." Alex's next visit came unannounced, a weekend in early January when Mark had a double shift. He'd texted Mark, who looped me in. "Can you handle Timmy solo? Alex is crashing." My pulse raced as I agreed, arriving with hot cocoa and board games. Alex was already there, building a fort from couch cushions, Timmy's laughter ringing like bells. That evening, after Timmy's lights out, we ordered Chinese, the fortune cookies cracking open prophecies we laughed over. But as the fortune papers fluttered down, conversation turned deeper. Alex shared his coming out story 17, a blowout fight with their dad, the years of reconciliation that came slow. Mark was the rock, he said, eyes distant. Stood by me when no one else did. Family's messy, but it's worth the fight. I swallowed hard, my own story bubbling up. Haltingly, I told him the crushes ignored, the prayers for normalcy, the isolation that gnawed like winter wind. "I don't even know if I'm ready," I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. He reached across the table, his hand covering mine, warm and steady. "Readiness is a myth, Eric. It's stepping into the light, one shaky foot at a time. No pressure, no expectation, just presence." That touch, platonic yet profound, unlocked something in me. For hours, we talked, the snow piling outside mirroring the layers peeling away inside. By dawn, as Alex brewed coffee and Timmy clamored for pancakes, I felt lighter, the closet's door ajar. He left that Sunday with a hug and a promise. Chicago's not far. Visit sometime. Driving home, I pulled over, tears streaming not of sorrow, but release. The heart he'd changed wasn't just mine. It was the one I'd starved for years. Spring thawed the ground and my resolve. Classes resumed. But now I declared an art major. My sketches bolder. Faces emerging from shadows. Babysitting evolved into mentorship. Timmy's questions about why boys like boys, overheard from schoolyard whispers, became openings for gentle truths. Love's like the sun. Buddy, I'd say, shines on everyone the same. Mark sensed the shift, inviting me to more family dinners. His quiet support a cornerstone. Alex and I texted daily art tips. Bad jokes. Late-night confessions that bridged the miles. When summer hit, he invited me to Chicago for a weekend, just to see the galleries. My parents balked at first, who's this Alex? But I held firm. The first real boundary I'd set. The train ride was a blur of nerves and excitement. Chicago greeted me with its cacophony. Alex waiting at Union Station with that grin. We wandered the Art Institute, his hand brushing mine in crowds. Each touch a question and answer. That night, over deep dish pizza in a bustling diner, I said it, I'm gay, Alex, and I think I'm falling for you. He stilled, then smiled, slow and sure. Took you long enough to catch up. Our first kiss, later under the beans' mirrored glow, was tentative, then fiercely a dam breaking after years of drought. But joy came laced with fear. Back home, whispers started. A coworker at my part-time job cornered me. Heard you're one of those. His sneer a preview of storms ahead. Fall brought trials. My parents discovered my sketches intimate portraits of Alex and confronted me in the kitchen. Bibles thumping on the table. This isn't you, Eric. It's a phase. Pray it away. Their words sliced deep. Love twisted into judgment. I moved out that week, crashing on Mark's couch. His door open without question. Your family, son, he said, hugging me as I sobbed. Timmy drew me pictures of rainbows, his innocence a shield. Alex drove down immediately, his presence a harbor. We faced my folks together, not in anger, but honesty letters exchanged, coffees shared, bridges rebuilt brick by painful brick. We love you, Mom finally whispered, tears mirroring mine. Just be happy. Through it all, our bond deepened not in grand gestures, but quiet ones, late-night calls during my first Pride parade, his hand in mine at Timmy's school play. Challenges came as job's demands pulling him away. My insecurities flaring, but we navigated them with the patience of survivors. 2 years on, under that same porch light where it began, Alex knelt as rain pattered softly. You changed my heart too, Eric. Marry me. Timmy cheered from the doorway, Mark beaming beside him. Our wedding was simple backyard vows in Columbus. Rainbows arching overhead. Family whole. In the end, it wasn't one night that changed me, but the courage it sparked a journey from hiding to holding, from fear to fierce love. Hearts mend not in isolation, but in the messy grace of showing up, again and again. And in that grace, we found our home. The summer after our engagement stretched lazy and luminous. The kind of Ohio heat that made fireflies dance like living stars. Alex and I had settled into a rhythm, dividing time between Chicago and Columbus, our lives weaving like threads in a tapestry neither of us had planned. I'd landed a freelance gig illustrating children's books. My style soft lines with hidden depths catching an editor's eye after Alex shared my portfolio at a design meetup. You're blooming, he'd say, tracing the ink stains on my fingers during late-night calls. His voice a low rumble that still sent shivers down my spine. But growth wasn't linear. Shadows lingered. Mark's ex, Lisa, had resurfaced, pushing for more custody time with Timmy. Her lawyer painting Mark as unstably a single dad leaning on that neighbor kid too much. It stung, reducing our bond to gossip fodder. One evening, as I tucked Timmy in, he asked, "Are you and Uncle Alex gonna have a baby like Mommy wants?" His eyes, so like Mark's, held no malice, just the raw curiosity of a child navigating adult wars. I knelt beside his bed, heart twisting. "Not like that, buddy. But we'll always be your family. Okay. Love doesn't need a blueprint." He nodded, hugging his stuffed fox tight, and I wondered how to shield him from the fractures we all carried. Alex arrived the next weekend, his car packed with blueprints for our future homie, a fixer-upper on the edge of town, equidistant from both cities. We toured it that Saturday, dust motes swirling in sunbeams, envisioning walls painted sky blue, a studio for my art, a nook for Timmy's visits. "This is us," Alex murmured, pulling me close amid the bare floors, his kiss tasting of sawdust and forever. Yet, as we planned, doubt crept in. His firm was expanding, talks of a transfer to New York swirling. "It's an opportunity," he said that night, over takeout on the porch. "But only if you're with me." The choice loomed, a fork in the road I'd just learned to walk. Columbus was Roots Mark's steady presence, Timmy's laughter, the church where my parents now sat awkwardly at pride events, their acceptance fragile but real. Chicago was Wings Alex's world of galleries and grit, where I'd first tasted freedom. "I can't lose you," I confessed, tears hot on my cheeks. "But leaving feels like betraying the boy who needed me here." He cupped my face, thumbs brushing away salt. "Then we build bridges, not burn them. Hybrid life. Eric. Visits. Video calls. Roots that stretch." His practicality grounded me, but the fear lingered, a whisper of abandonment echoing my youth. Fall brought decisions. I countered the New York talk with a compromise. I'd commute for gigs, he for family. Mark threw a pre-wedding barbecue, aunts gossiping over potato salad. Timmy crowned best ring bearer with a paper crown. Laughter flowed, but tension simmered. Lisa's lawyers subpoenaed me for a deposition, probing my influence on Timmy. "Are you and Mr. Harlan in a romantic relationship?" the suit asked, voice dripping implication. I met Alex's eyes across the room before answering. "Yes. And it makes us better for Timmy shows him love wins." The words, spoken aloud in that sterile office, felt like armor forged in fire. The judge ruled in Mark's favor, but the battle scarred, reminding me vulnerability's cost. Winter deepened our resolve. We eloped in a quiet Chicago courthouse, snow blanketing the streets like fresh starts. Just us, an officiant, and a photographer friend. Vows exchanged under twinkling lights. "I choose you." In storms and sunrises. Back in Columbus, we hosted a reception at Mark's. Timmy scattering petals anew, my parents toasting with shaky pride. "We're learning," Dad said later, gripping my hand. "For you." But joy's underbelly stirred. Alex's promotion came with 60-hour weeks, our calls clipped by exhaustion. One night, after a canceled visit, I snapped. "Is this the life we fought for, ghosts in each other's stories?" He arrived at dawn, apology in his eyes, and we rebuilt. Therapy sessions unpacking the scars, his fear of failing family like their dad had, mine of unworthiness rooted in rejection. Spring bloomed forgiveness. Timmy's kindergarten play-him as a brave knight drew us all. Lisa even attending, her nod across the auditorium a truce. We broke ground on the house. Alex's designs blending modern lines with cozy hearths. My first book deal arrived. Illustrations of a fox family adventuring mirroring our own. Yet, the deepest shift came quietly. At a pride picnic, hand in hand, I spotted a kid like past me, eyes downcast amid rainbows. I knelt, sharing my sketchbook. "Draw your truth," I said. His smile mirrored Timmy's. A cycle broken. By summer's end, as fireflies returned, Alex and I sat on our half-built porch. Blueprints unfurled. "We made it," he whispered, head on my shoulder. Not perfect, but whole hearts changed. Not just that night, but every dawn since. The house took shape through sweat and weekends, its frame rising like a promise against the skyline. By late summer, walls enclosed us, and we moved in amid boxes and laughter. Timmy claiming the biggest room for his Ford Empire. Mark helped haul furniture, grumbling good-naturedly about city boys and their fancy tools, while Lisa in a surprising turn dropped off Timmy with a tentative smile. Their co-parenting easing into rhythm. Life felt settled, a hard-won equilibrium. But beneath it, ripples stirred. Alex's workload intensified, conference calls bleeding into evenings, his sketches piling up unfinished. I'd catch him staring out windows, green eyes distant, the creative fire that drew me to him flickering low. "It's just pressure," he'd say, forcing a smile over dinner. But I knew burnout's bite. My own deadlines loomed. Illustrations for a second book demanding souls I poured from hidden places. One October evening, as leaves turned crimson, a call came. Alex's firm folding a division, his role redundant. "Layoffs," he announced, voice hollow over the line from Chicago. "They say it's temporary, but—" He trailed off, the unsaid heavy, our hybrid life cracking under strain. He drove home that night, arriving at midnight, rain slicked and silent. We sat on the kitchen floor, backs against cabinets, sharing cheap whiskey from mismatched glasses. "I built my identity on this," he confessed, head in hands. "The success, the escape from here. What if I'm just ordinary?" His vulnerability pierced me, echoing my own post-coming-out fears. "Ordinary's where magic lives," I replied, lacing fingers with his. "Remember that first night? You were just a brother visiting, but you saw me. That's not ordinary, that's everything." We talked till dawn, mapping paths, freelance design for him, more local gigs for me. But doubt lingered, a shadow in our sunlit home. November brought Thanksgiving redux, Mark's table groaning under turkey and tension. Dad pulled Alex aside for man talk, emerging with a gruff, "He's good for you, son." Progress. Bittersweet. Timmy, now 6 and sassy, declared our house the best castle. His visits weekends filled with fort building and foxtails from my books. Yet, as winter gripped, Alex withdrew. Rejections piled, clients ghosting, inspirations dry. One night, he snapped at Timmy's spilled juice, voice sharp as shattered glass. "Sorry," he muttered after, retreating to the garage. I found him there, tools idle, tears carving tracks down his cheeks. "I don't want to be the angry one," he whispered, like Dad was. The Harlan men, I learned, carried legacies of rage their father, a factory vet, lashing out after plant closures, leaving scars on Mark's steadiness and Alex's flight. "You're not him," I said fiercely, pulling him close. "You're the one who taught me to fight with love." Therapy followed, joint sessions unpacking generational weights, his hand squeezing mine through breakthroughs. Spring thawed more than earth. Alex landed a local contract murals for the community center, themes of resilience. His brushstrokes boldened, colors vivid as his returning spark. I collaborated, sketching figures that danced free, our art intertwining like lives. But external storms brewed. Town whispers resurfaced, a church pamphlet decrying lifestyles slipped under our door. My parents distanced. Mom's calls laced with scripture. We're proud, she'd say, voice wavering. But pray for guidance. It hurt, reopening wounds. But Alex's steadiness anchored, their loves evolving. Give it time. Summer's heat wave tested us. Timmy's campout in our yard turned chaotic fire pit sparks. Ghost stories escalating fears. As he whimpered in the tent, Alex scooped him up, crooning lullabies till sleep came. Watching them, I saw our future, not flawless, but fierce in protection. By August, Alex's murals unveiled to fanfare. Locals applauding the Harlan touch. Pride swelled, but deeper. Healing. One evening, under stars, he turned to me. You saved me, Eric. That night, I walked in lost eye, found home in your eyes. Tears pricked. We saved each other. Our kiss, slow and sure, sealed at hearts not just changed, but cherished. Autumn's palette deepened our days. The house now a haven of half-unpacked dreams. Timmy started first grade, his backpack slung low, chattering about new friends and math monsters. Drop-offs became ritual. Alex and I tag teaming. Mark waving from his porch. Lisa's car pulling up with punctual waves. Coexistence, fragile but functional, wove our extended family tighter. My book launch loomed. A reading at the local library that terrified more than thrilled. What if they see too much? I fretted to Alex, pacing the studio where canvases leaned like confessions. The Fox family's adventures hid my own, a boy's hidden longings. A man's bold steps. They'll see beauty, he countered, pinning me against the easel, his lips brushing my temple. Because that's you. The event packed the room. Mark in the front row, Timmy waving a homemade sign, parents nodding approval. As I read, voice steadying with each page. Applause rose like validation. Signings followed. Strangers sharing stories. Your book helped my nephew come out. Tears blurred ink. Gratitude flooding. Alex's proud gaze from the back anchored it all. Winter whispered changes. Alex's freelance bloomed. Commissions from schools and nonprofits. His murals dotting Columbus like beacons. We hosted holiday lights tour for Timmy's class. Bundling in scarves. Hot cocoa steaming. Laughter echoed. But quiet moments revealed cracks. Me parents' Christmas invite came stiff. No displays. A veiled dig at our life. We went anyway. Tree twinkling with old ornaments. Dinner polite. Then Dad cleared throat. We've been reading. Groups for families like us. Mom added. We want to understand. It was an embrace, but effort, a door cracking wider. Timmy's gift. A drawing of us all under rainbows. Bridged gaps. His innocence disarming defenses. Spring unearthed buried roots. A letter arrived from Alex's estranged aunt. Forgiving old rifts post Dad's passing. Heard about your wedding. Proud. Alex wept reading it. Then burned the grudges in our fire pit. Ashes scattering like release. Clean slate, he said, pulling me into embers glow. But joy's companion. Grief. Visited. Mark's plant announced cuts. His overtime vanishing. I'll manage. He insisted over beers. But worry etched deeper. We rallied Alex designing his resume site pro bono. Me watching Timmy extra. One night. Post-layoff call. Mark broke. Lisa's pushing again. Says I'm failing him. His sob. Raw. Mirrored Alex's past fears. We sat vigil. Brothers and me. Mapping safety nets. You're not failing. Alex said. You're fighting. Community fundraisers followed. Neighbors chipping in, the same tongues that wagged now wielded support. Mark landed warehouse work. Steadier hours. Lisa backing off with mutual respect. Summer solstice brought ceremony. We renewed informal vows at the lake. Timmy best man with a stick sword. Mark officiating with heartfelt words. Loves the real work, he said, eyes misty. Dipping toes in cool water. Alex whispered. Forever starts here. Yet, as fireflies ignited, a call shattered peace Timmy's school bullying. Taunts of two dads weird. He came home bruised. Silent. Heart-shattering. We held counsel, ice cream therapy. Stories of my youth. Different superpower. I told him. Sketching his portrait as hero. Alex added. Bullies fear what they don't know. Show him kindness. School meeting followed. Principal apologetic. Counseling mandated. Timmy rebounded. Befriending the taunter over shared Legos. Resilience. Learned young. Bloomed in him our greatest legacy. By fall's cusp. As murals aged gracefully. Alex turned to me amid leaves. We've built more than walls. Indeed, a life of mended hearts. Enduring. The years folded like well-worn pages. Each season etching lines of wisdom on our faces. Timmy turned 8. His growth spurts outpacing sneakers. Questions sharpening with age. Why do some people hate rainbows? He'd ask during drives. His small fist clenched around my sketchbook. I'd pull over. Drawing metaphors, storms passing. Colors enduring. Alex would chime in from shotgun. Because they forgot magic's free. Their bond. Uncle-nephew turned father-son in spirit. Filled our home with irreverent joy. My career crested. A third book series sold to a publisher. Tours taking me to coasts where I'd sign for fans mirroring my younger self. Alex's studio thrived. Collaborations with urban artists blending his Midwestern roots with bold edges. We traveled together when possible. Hands linked in airports. A quiet defiance against stares. Mark remarried quietly to Sarah. A teacher with gentle eyes and a laugh like bells, their blended family dinners raucous. Timmy thriving in the chaos. But midlife's undercurrents tugged. At 30, I confronted complacency sketches routine. Spark dimming. Am I enough? I journaled nights Alex slept. Doubts creeping like fog. He noticed. Of course. Cornering me in the kitchen one dawn. You're evolving. Not stagnating. His words prompted sabbatical, a road trip. Just us. Tracing Route 60 SIXS ghosts. Deserts stretched endless. Motels neon lit. Conversations unspooling threads long tangled. In a Grand Canyon campfire. I admitted. That first night. I feared you'd see my brokenness. Alex poked embers. Eyes reflecting flames. I saw strength. Still do. Reconnection reignited art born from miles. A mural series on journeys inward. Back home. Challenges mounted. Dad's health faltered, heart scare. Hospital beeps, a stark reminder of time's theft. Mom called. Voice cracking, he wants to see you. Us. Reconciliation deepened. Bedside vigils. Stories swapped. His hand frail in mine. I was scared. Son. Of losing you to a world I didn't know. Forgiveness flowed. Not erasure. But understanding love's slow thaw. Timmy's tween years tested waters. Crushes emerged. His first on a classmate. Gender fluid and unapologetic. Is it okay if I like Jamie? He whispered one night. Bunkered in fort. We nodded. Sharing our tales, Alex's high school heartbreaks. My hidden yearnings. Love your truth. I said. School dance loomed. We shopped suits. Nerves electric. He returned beaming. Hand in Jamie's, a milestone celebrated with ice cream toasts. Mark's new life bloomed. But shadows lingered. Sarah's pregnancy announced. Joy tempered by his layoff echoes. Second chances. He confided over coffee. Hand on her belly. We babysat Timmy during ultrasounds. His big brother excitement infectious. Winter's grip brought lost dad past quietly. Snow muffling grief. Funeral united us. Eulogies weaving his evolution from judgment to quiet ally. Mom moved in temporarily. Her presence awkward then warming baking pies. Critiquing sketches. He'd be proud, she said. Hugging tight. Spring heralded renewal. Alex's exhibit toured. Hearts unfolded. Inspired by us canvases of fractured light mending. Opening night. Timmy in bow tie. Crowd murmured approval. A critic wrote, Harlan captures redemption's raw beauty. Yet, personal tempests brewed. Alex's wanderlust resurfaced. Conference invites tempting. Just a week in LA. He'd say. But absences stretched. One return. I confronted, I need you here. Not echoes. Fight ensued, words sharp as winter winds, but dawn brought apologies. Reaffirmation. Couples retreat followed. Mountains echoing vulnerabilities. Emerging tighter. Summer's zenith. Timmy's birthday bash water fights. Cake smeared crystallized it. As dusk fell. Jamie shyly gifting a drawing. Our circle complete. Alex pulled me aside. This you. Them changed everything. Nodding. Tears brimming. I whispered. And still changing. Decades turn brought milestones cascading. Timmy. 12 now. Navigated puberty's maze with our guidance voice cracking. Interests exploding into soccer and sci-fi. His room. Once Lego-strewn. Overflowed with posters of diverse heroes. Jamie a constant in weekend adventures. Mark and Sarah welcome baby Ella. Timmy's doting amplified. Our home a spillover of diapers and delight. My authorship expanded workshops for LGBTQ+ youth. My story a beacon. That babysitting night. I'd tell groups. It wasn't about watching a kid. It was watching my heart wake. Applause followed. But impact lingered in letters. You gave me words for my silence. Alex's acclaim grew. Murals commissioned nationwide. But he prioritized local community center expansions. Themes of belonging. We mentored apprentices. His patience a gift. My illustrations complementing his visions. Collaboration birthed a children's mural trail. Timmy unveiling the first with pride. Family evolved. Mom. Settled in her condo. Dated a widower from church progressive. They attended Pride together. Her transformation humbling. Love sneaks up. She laughed over brunch. Mark's crew Sarah. Ella. Timmy barbecues staple. Lisa even joining post-divorce healing. But mid-30s malaise hit Alex. Am I just the gay artist uncle? He vented post-rejection. Studio canvases slashed. Imposter syndrome. We'd named it in therapy. But it clawed deep. I countered with our album photos from that rainy night to now. Proof of impact. You're the change. I insisted. Tracing his profile. His breakthrough, a solo show on Unseen Threads. Weaving personal tapestries, our first kiss sketched in thread. Timmy's birth announcement embroidered. Gallery packed. Critics raved, intimate revolution. Sales funded scholarships. His purpose reignited. Timmy's trials peaked school relocation. Jamie moving stateside. Heartbreak crushed him. Sobs racking teen frame. Why does it hurt so much? Sleepless nights. We held space ice cream vigils. Journals shared. Pain's love's echo. Alex said. It means you dared. Video calls to Jamie sustained. Friendship enduring distance. External pressures mounted. Town council debated family values curriculum. Our voices rising in opposition. Testimonies poured, mine halting. Then fierce, teach inclusion. Or lose tomorrow's hearts. Victory bittersweet. Alliances forged with former skeptics. Winter's hush brought introspection. Ella's first Christmas. Toddling to tree. Timmy playing Santa Magic multiplied. But Alex's health scare routine, check flagging cholesterol jolted us. I'm not ready to leave this. He confessed in ER wait. Hand clammy in mine. Lifestyle shifts followed, runs at dawn. Meals mindful. Check-ins tender. Spring's thaw mirrored recovery. Timmy rebounded. New crush sparking on a debate team rival. Gender lines blurred. We navigated. Affirming without assuming. His coming out. Casual over dinner. I'm pan. I think. Hugs enveloped. Cake celebrated normalcy in revelation. Summer travels road trip redux. Timmy shotgun. Ella babbling rear. Canyons whispered wisdom. Campfires confessional. You guys are my anchors. Timmy said. Stars overhead. Alex's glance met mine, legacy living. Fall harvest. As leaves goldened. Mom announced engagement. Wedding small. Us officiating full circle. Toasts tiered, from fear to family. By year's close. Snow dusting murals. Alex sketched us intertwined. Enduring. Hearts changed. Lives linked. Adolescence stormed in with Timmy at 15. Hormones a hurricane reshaping shores. High school hallways. Once playgrounds. Turned battlegrounds, cliques clashing. Identities clashing harder. His pan flag pin drew side eyes. But he wore it defiant. Debate club sharpening arguments. World needs fixing. He'd declare over dinner. Eyes alight like Alex's in passion. My fourth book. A memoir veiled in fiction, echoes of that night, hit shelves. Bestseller whispers turning heads. Tours exhaustive. But cathartic. Q&A's unearthed healings. Your words freed my voice. Alex managed Homefront. His designs gracing book covers. Synergy seamless. Mark's family flourished, Ella toddling into sentences. Sarah's school accolades. Grandparent duties for mom. Her suitor, now husband, doting. But dad's absence echoed holidays. Toasts to his growth a ritual. Alex's wanderings quelled. But creative drought cycled. Mid-show slump. He retreated to garage. Tools therapy. What if the well's dry? Despair dripped. But I dragged him to lake. Skipping stones like resolutions. Droughts pass. Dig deeper. Collaborative piece emerged, joint exhibit on interwoven selves. Vulnerability bared. Timmy's romance bloomed with Kai. Non-binary artist. Sketches exchanged in halls. Home dates chaperoned. Awkward then endearing. Love's weird. Timmy laughed post first kiss recount. We nodded. Sharing ours rainy porch. Canyon flames. Heartbreaks followed, Kai's family relocating, tears torrential. But resilience rooted. I'll art through it. Town tensions simmered. Anti-LGBTQ plus ordinance proposed. Pitting neighbors. We rallied petitions. Panels my testimony. Babysitting taught me family transcends blood. Don't legislate love away. Passage failed. Unity forged. But exhaustion lingered. Winter's bite brought pivot. Mom's health waned, cancer shadow chemo, chairs our new vigil. Regrets few. She confided. Hand in mine. You taught me that. Her fight inspired Timmy's fundraiser. School art auction raising thousands. Remission dawned spring. Celebrations fierce. Alex's 40th loomed. Milestone mixed. Aging gracefully. He joked. But mirrors mocked. Gym routines. Silver threading hair I loved deeper. Tracing lines earned. Surprise party, Timmy's orchestration. Murals as backdrop toasts. To the brother who changed nights to forever. Timmy's driver permit, terrified roads patrolled. White-knuckled. Crashes avoided. Independence inching. Summer job at center. Mentoring kids like us, cycle continued. Fall elections. Progressive wins, our voices amplified. But personal quake, freelance dip. Bills biting. Side hustle online classes sustained. Alex's pep, adaptations art. By winter solstice. Snow blanketing. Mom rang remission bell. Gathering round. Ella's giggles. Timmy's quips. We reflected. Alex's whisper. From one visit to this tapestry. Hearts. Woven eternal. Maturity settled like fine wine. Years distilling essences. Timmy. 18. Graduated valedictorian speech on bridges built in rain. Eyes on us through tears. College bound for Chicago Art Institute. Kai reconnected as friend. Dorm life beckoning. Empty nest loomed. But pride swelled our boy. World ready. My canon grew keynote speeches. Foundation for queer youth artists. Alex's legacy, permanent installations. Scholarships named Harlan Hearts. Joint projects abounded. Live symphonic. Mark retired early. Sarah's tenure secure. Ella's tween sass mirroring Timmy's. Grandkids on horizon. Winks exchanged. Mom. Cancer-free 5 years. Traveled with spouse. Postcards brimming joy. Challenges softened doubts to dialogues. Fights to growth. Therapy staple. Anniversaries retreats renewing. That porch. Weathered. Witness to sunrises shared. Timmy's wedding to artist love. Years post-college our farm. Vows under oaks. You showed me love's art. He said. Hugging. Ella flower girl. Mark walking aisle. Decades later. Rockers creaking. Grandkids clamoring Timmy's twins. Fox-eared mischief. Stories spun. Uncle Eric's rainy night magic. Alex. Silver-maned. Squeezes my hand. One visit. Infinite changes. Legacy. Hearts mended. Truths told. Love's quiet revolution. From babysitter's fear to elder's grace of life. Profoundly altered. Profoundly given. In twilight's glow. We watch fireflies' echoes of beginnings. Promises of more.